Let's begin with a brief statement on terminology. The name for the terminal punctuation is different in American and British or Australian English. In American English, it's referred to as a period, while in the British or Australian English rules, it's referred to as a full stop. We will use them interchangeably throughout the videos. Punctuation is used to clarify the sense of what is written. The purpose of punctuation is to facilitate reading and writing by indicating the necessary pauses needed in the sentence. Whenever one pauses, a punctuation mark is needed. Different punctuation marks are used depending on the length of the pause. The length of the pause is often correlated to the strength of the punctuation. Commas and colons are not strong punctuations, as you only leave a small pause after them. A semicolon is a stronger punctuation mark than a comma and a colon, but it's not as strong as a full stop. In other words, a semicolon requires a slightly longer pause than a comma, but not as long as the pause required when using a full stop. The most common use of the full stop is to mark the end of a sentence that expresses a statement. This is true for complete sentences and not incomplete or fragmented sentences. Remember, complete sentences begin with a capital letter and only one space is needed between sentences. Before the age of word processors and desktop publishing, it was customary to place 2 spaces after punctuation marks. However, with more sophisticated variable spacing, double spacing is now avoided as it can create distracting gaps on a page. A full stop is used at the end of a direct question, which sounds like a question but is a statement as it doesn't actually pose a question. Periods are used with abbreviations that, when omitted, may cause misunderstanding, like with NO period when it means number, as the decimal point in a currency, when numbering subsections and paragraphs in formal documents, and when writing time according to the British English rules. With the American English rules, the period is replaced with a colon and the abbreviation includes the periods. So what about punctuation after symbols for units of measurement? This depends to a great extent on whether you are following the British Australian or American English rules. With the British English, no full stop is used. However, the American English rules include the period. Periods or full stops are also used on the outside of the close bracket when completing a sentence with a phrase in brackets, or on the inside of the close bracket when a full sentence appears in the bracket. However, in the case of a complete sentence, the preference is to leave out the brackets altogether. And finally, let's have a look at how to use periods with quotation marks. There is a difference between the American English and British English usage. According to the British Australian English rules, at the end of a sentence, use a full stop on the outside of the end quotation mark when there is a carrier expression. A carrier expression is the phrase that appears before or after the quotation within the sentence. Some carrier expressions are she said, he said, or any other phrase that is part of the original sentence. The American English rules place the period on the inside of the end quotation mark. When there isn't a carrier expression, place the full stop on the inside of the end quotation mark.